Hello again, guys. I was going through the menus and stuff, and I completely forgot about this. I know throughout the game you probably have seen up in the top corner where the trophies are, or I think it's like the top left corner actually, saying like you have unlocked a book of fables, and I know a lot of people in the comments have been saying, hey, why don't you check them out, you should read them, this and that. So I was looking at all of them, and I pretty much unlocked every single one except for 7 of them. So this is probably going to be like an addition at the end of episode 5 once it's all edited and everything. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go through and read everything for you guys, everything that I've unlocked, to kind of give you guys a better, I don't know, explanation and a better introduction to characters and stories and fables and the like, to better understand everything that's going on, because there's a lot of fables and stuff that I haven't even heard about, that I don't even know, and I'm sure a lot of people don't know as well. So if you're not interested in watching this, you can just stop the video and just stop watching. You're not going to miss anything crazy, but I'm just going to read through all of these and go through one by one because it looks pretty cool and I want to know more about it, so why not share it with you guys? So we're going to start with Bigby Wolf, Fabletown Sheriff. The renowned Big Bad Wolf, he's known for tormenting pigs and girls in red boots, but is trying to put those dark days behind him. Bigby now acts as Fabletown Sheriff and remains in his human form mostly. However, due to his rough past, the citizens of Fabletown are slow to trust him. Bigby is determined to show that he's truly changed, but some instincts are just too hard to control. Snow White, assistant to the deputy mayor. Snow White may seem cold, but this stems from her life of mistreatment and abuse back in the homelands. After escaping assault and imprisonment, not to mention an attempt on her life, she married Prince Charming. It wasn't long before Snow discovered that Charming cheated on her with her estranged sister, Rose Red. Oh, and she divorced him. That's her whole past. Interesting. After the Exodus, Snow focused her attention on setting up a safe haven for fables in the New World. She now serves as assistant to the deputy mayor of Fabletown. Cool. The Woodsman, fallen hero. The Woodsman is one of the few men who went toe-to-toe with Bigby in his Black Forest days and lived to tell the tale. In an attempt to save Little Red Riding Hood, he split the great wolf's belly open with his axe, filled him full of rocks, and threw the beast into a river. I remember that. I remember reading about that. That's one of like the darkest fables. To his dismay, his popularity has faded. Even his name is forgotten, and he is only known as the Woodsman. Faith, Donkey Skin Girl. Faith, otherwise known as Donkey Skin Girl, made it through the Exodus from the magical homelands with the clothes on her back, her husband, and nothing else. She was once a beautiful princess, happily married to Prince Laurence of a neighboring kingdom. Her life should have had a happy ending, but the mundane city of New York wasn't kind to her or her marriage. With no money, Faith found herself turning tricks to make the rent for a cheap apartment on the outskirts of Fabletown. She had a difficult life, but she did what she could to survive in an unfamiliar world. That's gotta suck. Poor Faith. Beauty, caring wife. Beauty and her husband Beast once lived in an enchanted castle, but they were forced to flee the homelands in the Exodus, leaving all of their wealth behind. Now they live in a modest studio in Fabletown, New York. Though times are hard and Beast working multiple jobs to pay the bills, the couple have the longest lasting relationship of the fables. That's good. It's good she's got that going for her. I'm proud of her. Beast, concerned husband. Beast and his wife Beauty left everything behind when they escaped the homelands in the Exodus. Without his former wealth, Beast must pick up extra work to make ends meet. He is able to get around Fabletown without glamour most of the time, but if Beauty gets too angry with him, he becomes more beastly by the minute, growing horns and large teeth. Despite the occasional bickering, the two are truly in love and have the longest lasting relationship of anyone in Fabletown. Cool. Mr. Toad, Slumlord. Mr. Toad is the superintendent for a defunct tenement of the edge of Fabletown, on the edge of Fabletown proper, Because he's a 3.5-foot talking amphibian, Toad is required by Fabletown law to keep his family and himself magically glamored to appear human. The problem is Toad isn't too concerned with what the law is, and has to be reminded often. This is true, that's why he went to the farm, unfortunately. Colin, couch surfer. I almost said coach surfer. Colin is is better known as one of the three little pigs. Back in the homelands, they were harassed by the big bad wolf, who blew down Colin's house of straw. Oh, so he had the house of straw. Interesting. After the Exodus, Colin and the other fables who couldn't pass for human were sent to live at the farm in upstate New York. Unable to stand such a boring life, Colin constantly makes trips down to Fabletown to bother Bigby. He is always caught and sent back to the farm, but he doesn't let that stop him. You know what's funny? When I lived back at my parents' house, I wasn't too crazy far away from upstate New York, and let me tell you, it's pretty gorgeous up there in the countryside and the farms and everything. I don't know why Colin would want to leave. It's a beautiful fucking place compared to frickin' New York. I mean, there is Nintendo Land World, but, you know. Ichabod Crane, Deputy Mayor of Fabletown. Hailing from the haunted town of Sleepy Hollow, Ichabod Crane has been Deputy Mayor of Fabletown for nearly 115 years? Really? Holy crap. Crane is a bundle of nerves and takes his job very seriously, though that doesn't mean he always does it well. As one of Fabletown's elite, Crane is often blind to the troubles of the less well-off citizens. Overall, Crane is authoritarian, cowardly, and always hiding something. We noticed that. Buffkin, Fabletown librarian. He's fucking adorable. Buffkin is the talking winged monkey from the land of Oz. Now as Fabletown's librarian, he spends his time reading and stealing the deputy mayor's booze. He's prone to mischief, so when something goes wrong, he assumes he'll receive the lion's share of the blame. He's helpful when he wants to be, but most of the time he'd rather be drinking. Someone would have fired him long ago, but he's the only one who can make sense of the filing system. That's a pretty cool fucking job to have, to be the only one of Fabletown to do frickin' anything as far as the book system and everything. That's gotta be cool. Just do whatever you want and not lose your job. That's awesome. Fabletown, home of the fables. Fabletown is a community located on Bullfinch Street in Manhattan's Upper West Side. They were really specific with this, weren't they? To regular people, or Mundys, it appears to be an ordinary New York neighborhood, but it is really the home of fables from many worlds, and within the business office at the Woodlands lies a massive cavern, a vast library, and hundreds of magical items of immense power. All non-human fables live upstate on the farm, an extension of Fabletown. It kind of makes me want to go to New York and find this place. Like, can someone confirm this place actually exists? Because it makes me wonder now. It's kind of funny. The Farm, Fabletown Annex. The farm is home to fables who cannot pass as human, giants, goblins, animals, etc. It is located in upstate New York, far enough away from the Mundys to avoid detection. Some of its residents resent their confinement to the farm, despite its size and comforts. To them, the farm is a prison. They would be allowed to leave the farm if they could purchase a glamour, but many don't have the money for something so expensive, though some, like Colin, sneak out into the city anyway. Because he's a pig. I mean, whatever. Mundys, non-fables. Short for mundane, Mundy is a catch-all term that fables use to refer to the non-magical inhabitants of their adopted home. Warding spells placed around the blocks of Fabletown and the farm keep their minds distracted and dull within certain boundaries. However, if anything should pique the curiosity or scrutiny of a large group of Mundys, these magical protection charms would overload and fail. As Sheriff of Fabletown, one of Bigby's primary functions is ensuring the Fabletown community maintains a low profile. Glamours, disguise spell. Glamours are spells that allow the user to change their appearance. They are expensive but can be purchased by non-human fables in order to pass for human among the Mundys. Cheap glamours can be found in the seedier parts of Fabletown, but they are often unreliable and prone to sudden failure. That doesn't sound very safe. Prince Laurence. Oh, that's a great picture of him. Good job. Faith's husband. After escaping the homelands, Prince Laurence and his wife Faith immediately fell victim to the harsh realities of the mundane world. They moved to New York hoping to find aid in a community of fellow fables, but without enough money to live in Fabletown, they had to settle on an apartment on the outskirts of the neighborhood. Unfortunately, that meant that they were out of sight and out of mind when it came to government assistance. Their prospects dwindling, Faith left Laurence to try to make it on her own. Now, without his wife for support, Laurence struggles to motivate himself and quickly sinks into depression. Wow. They couldn't even live in Fabletown. They had to live outside of it because they couldn't afford it. That sucks. That really freaking sucks. The Tweedles, hired goons. The Tweedle Brothers, Dumb and Dee, are thugs for hire. They appear human, allowing them to carry out their contracts in the Mundy world without drawing suspicion. They are inseparable as they are ruthless. No shit. Holly, Trip Trap owner. Oh god, what a picture and cleavage and yeah, Holly is a no-nonsense kind of troll and the owner of Trip Trap Bar. She's glamored to appear human, but her patrons know better. Holly takes good care of her regulars, often the downtrodden fables with little to spare, but she has no patience for the Fabletown government that has done nothing to locate her missing sister. Grendel, drifter. He was fucking weird, creepy, cool looking, I don't know. Grendel just wants to be left alone. In the old days he terrorized Norse mead halls, but lately he can be found occupying a stool in various quiet, dumpy bars around New York. He hates the noise of the city, but must work there to afford his glamour. Despite his gruff bearing, he's fiercely loyal to those who've learned to offer him the space and silence he desires. Talking to him is like watching a time bomb tick down. It's only a matter of time. It's probably why he enjoys being drunk. Bluebeard, wealthy scoundrel. Bluebeard managed to escape the homelands with his riches intact and continues to be one of the wealthiest fables in New York. The Fabletown government depends on his generous contributions, and he often uses his influence for his own benefit. As a former serial killer, he claims his days of decapitating his brides are over. Whoa. 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 But even if he was able to leave his violent ways in the homelands, that hasn't stopped him from making the occasional trip down Crooked Lane. So he's not really good to trust either. I never heard of Bluebeard. It kind of makes me want to go look it up now. Holy freaking crap. Big B's Mercy. In the days leading up to Exodus, the Big Bad Wolf hunted armies of men and goblins in the Black Forest. These invading forces had driven off the great beast's preferred quarry, and their own flesh was rotten with corruption. Hardly a suitable replacement, he made it his game to destroy their camps, devour their night watchmen, and disrupt their supply trains while sparing their prisoners. One day he broke their ranks and discovered a particular woman they held captive. Her skin was white as snow, but her hair was as dark as the night sky. He approached her, and she, knowing no sword could match the giant wolf's power, bravely placed her shackles on the beast's mouth. He freed her, but years would pass before the two met again in the Mundy world. Snow White. So, he kind of saved her life. Wow. Wow. That no wonder they have history. It's crazy. Ichabod's Denial, the legend of Sleepy Hollow. During his days in Sleepy Hollow, Ichabod Crane fell in love with a wealthy young woman named Katrina von Tassel. I remember this story. Everyone teases me because my name's Katrina. She was beautiful and very rich, but that meant she was also caught the attention of another suitor, Abraham Brom Van Brute. As Ichabod's rival, Brom would plan the nasty pranks in order to humiliate the often superstitious schoolteacher. Despite Brom's plots to win Katrina over, Ichabod believed he would be chosen as her favorite. After a party at her father's home, Ichabod proposed to Katrina and was very quickly rejected. He immediately rode off in shame and was never seen again in Sleepy Hollow. Well, he's never seen in Sleepy Hollow again. I don't know why I confused that. According to Crane, he was chased out of town by the Headless Horseman, but in reality, it was probably just another one of Brom's pranks. But I thought in the fable he got his head cut off. I don't know. 13th floor, the Witches and Wizards of Fabletown. The 13th floor of the Woodland Building is home to a group of witches and wizards tasked with the protection of Fabletown. They use their powers to keep the community hidden from prying Mundys' eyes, but all magic has its limits, and every spell has its cost, because it's expensive to produce in a world where no one knows about it. The Magic Mirror. Magic Mirror. The Magic Mirror speaks mostly in rhyme and demands that others do the same. He requires the name of whatever object or person you wish to find. If you follow these rules, the mirror will show you a glimpse of whatever you want to see, but nothing more. That would be kind of interesting to do in real life. The Witching Well. The Witching Well is located in a chamber inside the Woodland Building where it is used to dispose of things that never meant to be seen again. Dead fables are committed to its depths and are the most unredeemable criminals, as are the most unredeemable criminals. No one is entirely sure what lies at the bottom of the well, nor indeed if it has a bottom at all, but it is widely assumed to be a passageway to the final resting place. Or it's just a place somewhere else. I don't know where I was going with that. Jack Horner, harmless trickster. Jack is always up to something, but he's not nearly as smart as he thinks he is. He plans to get rich quick, often backfire, but his confidence never wavers. He thinks he's the most important person in Fabletown, but everyone knows him as a mostly harmless smartass. That indeed. Lily, estranged sister. Lily and her sister Holly grew up in the homelands together, but had a falling out shortly after moving to the mundane world. Aimless and increasingly destitute, Lily turned to prostitution, and now she's the second victim in an ongoing murder investigation. Troll Cross, Lily's brooch. The Troll Cross is an amulet made of iron that was foolishly thought to protect the wearer from trolls. Lily acquired hers while wandering through the wilderness searching for something to eat. She came across a human, but before she could devour him, he held the troll cross out and shouted, back, you troll." After enjoying her tasty snack, Lily plucked the cross from the dead man's hands. After the exodus, she wore the troll cross constantly as a reminder of better days. Interesting. Georgie Porgy, the pimp. Georgie runs the Pudding and Pie strip club that also caters to the unmentionable desires of Fabletown citizens, which is absolutely gross. He has tried just about everything there is to try in pursuit of worldly pleasures, but none of it satisfies him for long. He does seem to enjoy pushing people's buttons. He takes pride in his nightclub and doesn't react well to anyone meddling in his affairs. Clever Hans, bouncer, janitor, and handyman. Clever Hans always does exactly as he's told. However, he often misunderstands his directions and ends up hurting himself for behaving oddly, as in the case of his noted fable, where he threw sheep's eyes at his wife. I never heard of this fable. Unsurprisingly, she left him, and now Hans works as a bouncer at Georgie's club. He hopes to dance on stage one day, but for now he's content sweeping up and making sure the crowd doesn't get out of hand. He wants to be a stripper? Really? Oh my god. Okay. Nerissa, the Little Mermaid. Nerissa's story never had a happy ending. She's known as Little Mermaid, the young girl who gave up her tail for a pair of legs in the hopes of winning the heart of a handsome prince. When she married a princess... I completely misread that. When he married a princess instead, Nerissa was left heartbroken. She made the journey to the mundane world hoping for a better life. Now she dances at the Pudding and Pie. I saw her boobs. But each step she takes feels like walking on shards of glass. She has very little left, but finds some comfort in the company of her fellow dancers. Vivian, Georgie's girl. Much of Vivian's past is unknown, since she prefers not to talk about her life back in the homelands. She wanted to start fresh in Fabletown, but she finds herself working for Georgie at the Pudding and Pie. It's not a terrible life. Georgie took a liking to Vivian, and he doesn't make her take jobs at the open arms. Instead, she plays hostess and helps Georgie ensure complete customer satisfaction. Oh, I skipped one. Dr. Swinehart, the army surgeon. Dr. Swinehart is the resident Fabletown physician, so skilled in the art of instrumental surgery that he can safely operate on himself. He served as an army medic for many years, sometimes using his talents to impress the locals. He currently runs the special research section of the Knights of Malta Hospital, so named to discourage people for investigating what is actually reserved, Fables-focused health facility. Interesting. Headless Horseman, the Hessian spirit. Thought to be the spirit of a particular fearsome, especially macabre German military contractor, the Headless Horseman lost his head from cannon fire during the Revolutionary War. Most famous for hounding Ichabod Crane one night in the woods of Sleepy Hollow, it is rumored that this phantom is only the most recent incarnation of a primordial demon, whose previous forms include a middle-aged chieftain who brandished a whip made of human bone, and Scottish lord who was decapitated in a fight over shares of land. Crazy. The Trip Trap Bar, the watering hole. The oldest bar in New York City, the Trip Trap was established in 1725 in secret by Starkad, the legendary Viking and reprobate, as a place for fables to meet and drink and commiserate. Stop putting these long words here. Undead. It's so hard to talk after so long. Known then as the Grammarian's Tavern, he eventually lost it in a bet to a tribe of mountain trolls who quickly renamed it and made it their own. Holly is the current proprietor, having inherited it from her mother when she died in a boating accident in the early 20th century. Wow, that's crazy. Auntie Greenleaf, the white deer, horticulturist, alchemist, and lover of animals, Auntie Greenleaf is one of the few rogue witches still living outside of the 13th floor, unsupervised and unrestricted. Rumored to have lost a daughter in the homeland, she suffers paranoia and depressive mood swings, and will only venture outside of irregular hours under the guise of an ethereal white deer, an oft-whispered specter of Brookhaven natives. Ugh, crazy. Glamour tube, the handy disguise. Glamours can be produced in a variety of ways, but one of the most common, due to its ease of use, is to take a small, hollowed-out tube or container and place it within several items unique to whomever the caster wants to copy. A witch is required for the reactionary charm. Two downsides of this type of glamour is that totally unique appearances are completely impossible, and the nature of the vessel makes it quite unstable. Ring of Dispel, the Arthurian band, okay. Reputed to be fashioned by a Byzantine clan in an attempt to ward off coven of witches, the Ring of Dispel, or dispelling ring, or magic cancelling ring, eventually was given to Lancelot by the Lady in the Lake. Recovered by the business office after the emigration to New Amsterdam, it was assigned to Greenleaf for caretaking. Interesting. Oh, fuck this bitch. Bloody Mary, the urban legend. The true history of the person known as Bloody Mary is almost completely unknown, even to fables most acquired with its members. Her name, Mary, at least, is not up for contention, nor is her penchant for shocking violence. An inlaid resistance to magic and spells, and a strange ability to use any reflective surface as a portal, effectively shortcutting space and time, thought by Mundys to be the wailing apparition of a childless ghost, though any evidence of that is as yet unseen. Silver bullets, Wolf's weakness. I know this for a fact. He's almost like a vampire. The legends of great and magical wolves often make mention of their weakness against weapons made of silver, and those tales bear to be true. The silver bullet Mary shot Bigby with was not the first, but any of them could be his last. Any silver left in Bigby's body weakens his system, slows his healing, and can cause long-term damage, which is not good. Acting deputy, Snow White. With Ichabod Crane firmly out of the picture and King Cole still absent, the task of leading Fabletown falls squarely on Snow's shoulders. She has performed many of the job's duties for a long time, picking up the slack for Crane, but now that she's fully in charge of the business office, she has to deal with a new level of politicking that she's not previously been exposed to. Donkey skin coat, hide in plain sight. Only the truly beautiful will fully understand the power of a coat that makes its wearer appear ugly. It is the power to be invisible while still being seen. Unfortunately, its value can also be hard to see, but it is still a magic coat, and to some collectors, that is enough. The Jersey Devil. Ooh, I like how he looks in this. Garden State Goon. Not all the fables who came to this world landed in Fabletown. There are those who scattered across the farther corners of the earth, and there are those who simply prefer the Garden State to the Empire State, such as the Jersey Devil. Reports of its appearance have varied, although most accounts make mention of leathery wings, but an encounter with a certain axe of legend some years ago has temporarily rendered that feature absent. So that's why he doesn't have wings. Woodsman's Axe. Ensorcelled by druids. Once just a simple tool for felling trees, the axe became much more when it was ensorcelled by druids and marked with their runes, but it truly became an object of legend when the woodsman used it to slice the big bad wolf from nape to neck in protection of Little Red Riding Hood. It may carry old world charm, but its simplicity of design and quality workmanship make it an effective tool or weapon even today. Johan the Butcher. His name is often said in the same breath as that of the baker and the candlestick maker of Fabletown, and like those other tradesmen, Johan the Butcher's storefront has served Fabletown for ages, fresh cuts, exotic meats, and even full sides of beef for the vigorous appetites of ogres and trolls. But Johan's business has fallen on hard times and fallen in with the wrong crowd, as the quality of his products declined and his business turned into a front operation for the crooked man. Some have started to wonder if they ever really knew Johan. Bluebeard's money. One might think that Bluebeard donates funds to the Fabletown government for nefarious purposes, seeking special favors, or to have a louder voice in government proceedings. But what he really wants is stability and strength, because as far as Bluebeard is concerned, Fabletown exists to insulate him from the Mundy world. As much as his money can be a sword, it also serves as a shield. That's why he's such a defenseless prick. The Crooked Lair, headquarters. Occupying a desanctified church, this is just one of many locations the Crooked Man's operations used to run the Fabletown's underworld. Its lounge atmosphere makes for a comfortable meeting place unless you are an unwelcomed guest. It is completely boarded up to the outside world, and the only way in is through one of the many portals marked by a door with the Crooked Man's Catherine wheel icon scattered throughout the city and elsewhere. The Crooked Man, crime lord. The Crooked Man has slowly built himself into one of the most powerful figures in Fabletown. His operation started with a crooked sixpence and a crooked house, two things he cared about more than his wife or children, whom he killed rather than let them stand in his way. In his rise, the Crooked Man has ensnared many fables in his criminal web, providing them with what they need, but always at a high cost. He is cunning, persuasive, and ruthless, and a frickin' bastard that got shoved down the well, and I'm glad I did it now that I know more about him, so screw you. Tiny Tim, sentry. While most fables theorize that their longevity and overall well-being is improved by the Mundy world's knowledge of them, for a select few that does not seem to apply. When a malady or injury is a integral part of fable's story, the notoriety can make recovery nearly impossible. That's why Tiny Tim thinks, at least. And no medical care or magic, rather none that he can afford, can heal his leg. Aw, poor guy. Life on the farm. With its idyllic location and managed community, the farm would seem to be a welcome alternative to eking out an existence in Fabletown, but those who have lived there see it very differently. They see it for what it is, a prison, a place where you are free to be who you are and do whatever you please, except leave. It doesn't help that while fables who appear human do not have to worry about being sent to the farm, they always seem to fill the leadership roles there. Vivian's story, the girl with the ribbon. Vivian was the very first to bear the curse of the purple ribbon. Sorry, it's really hard to read for so long. Removing the ribbon would result in death, and any attempt to talk about was thwarted by the spell upon it. As time went on, she tried to live a normal life. Eventually, she married a nice man, but he was constantly wondering about the ribbon around her neck. Despite her pleas for him to leave it alone, one night while she was sleeping, he attempted to remove it. As he pulled on the edge of the string, Vivian woke and saw what her husband was doing. In a panic, she pulled away, preventing the ribbon's knot from being undone. Furious, she tried to express the severity of his actions, but her husband was unable to understand. She realized then that she couldn't trust him and decided to leave. She lived alone for the rest of her days in the homelands, preferring the safety of isolation to the risk of another betrayal. Wow. So that's why she was talking about her past and everything, because the husband couldn't trust her because of the ribbon and unintentionally tried to kill her, and she decided it wasn't safe to be with him for her own safety. and she killed herself. Sucks. The pudding and pie, Vivian and Georgie's place. Vivian and Georgie met during the exodus from the homelands, and they helped each other survive the long journey to the mundane world. Upon their arrival, however, they found it hard to make a decent living. With what little money they had, they opened the pudding and pie. Operating a strip club may not have been the most desirable occupation, but they figured it was better to be in charge of a place like this than be forced through desperation to work at one. But then you made other people work for you, so that was just as bad. Ooh, I get to read about this one. The Big Bad Wolf, Bigby's true form. Bigby's true form is that of a giant 8-foot tall wolf. 8 feet tall? Holy crap. In addition to his iconic huff and puff power, he has also inherited other abilities from his father, the North Wind. For example, Bigby is able to hold his breath for an abnormally long amount of time, making it impossible for him to drown. That is handy. That is pretty cool. And I didn't know his father was the North Wind. Oh god. Mary's loyalty, part of the job. Oh, like, let's just look at her for a second. She looks like she has, like, male pants on. She's got glass sticking out of her. Some kind of symbol all over her body. Her eyes are bleeding. Ugh. Bloody Mary began working for the Crooked Man many centuries ago. He promised her freedom to do as she pleased, as long as she agreed to act as his personal bodyguard and hitman. Because of the Crooked Man's power and influence, Mary never had to worry about getting caught by the authorities. She enjoys her job immensely and would defend the Crooked Man to the death, mostly because she finds it fun. Ugh. Fabletown Justice. When a criminal is captured in Fabletown, the traditional procedure is to hold a formal hearing in front of the community or concerned parties. However, exceptions are often made to expedite the process. In reality, there aren't any hard and fast rules for these types of situations, and the extent to which policies are upheld can depend on who is being charged. A new order, Snow White in charge. With Crane out of the picture, Mayor Cole has officially appointed Snow White as the Director of Operations and Deputy Mayor in his absence. Many would say this promotion is a long time coming, since she was instrumental in the establishment of Fabletown and personally ensured that many fables made it to the new world safely. She's also been doing the work of Deputy Mayor unofficially for years. Yeah, she pretty much did all the work. Sheriff Bigby. After fleeing the homelands, Bigby Wolf spent many years wandering through Europe. With a fable colony quickly developing in the New World, Snow White and Feathertop tracked down the wolf and offered him passage to Fabletown. He agreed, and Snow cut him with a lycanthropy-stained knife to give him the power to change into human form at will. Oh. So he doesn't use glamour. He's got a special knife? Huh. Bigby became sheriff of Fabletown under King Cole's administration, but because of his violent past, many fables didn't trust him, and he was banned from ever setting foot on the farm. That's why he can't go. To this day, he struggles to redeem himself in the eyes of the community. Well, that was insightful. That was a half hour of insightfulness. I hope I didn't bore you guys, but that was everything. I'm only missing a couple of them. So I'm assuming that the numbers on these locks refer to the episode I missed stuff in. And if that's the case, I missed a lot of stuff in 3. Yeah, 3. Because I only missed like 1 in each of them. But 3 I missed a lot. I don't know how the hell I missed a lot. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. We finally got to read everything. If you want to see which ones I missed, I'm sure you can look them up online somewhere. They might be in a Wikipedia somewhere. But now we all kind of know the fables a little bit better and have a better understanding to the story for whenever Season 2 comes out. So, until next time, guys, have a great day, great night, great evening, great morning, great weekend, wherever you are, whatever time of day it is. and bye-bye.